Hey everybody, this is Mr. Moore again. Hope that you're doing well. I want to give you a quick overview of the instructions for assignment number 2. So let's look at that now. Assignment 2, opportunity cost shutdown decisions. In this we're going to look at a business. We're going to pretend that you own a business and try and get you to think through some of the decisions you might have to make given certain government regulations and rule changes. All right, so in this case, you're going to pretend that you're a licensed, experienced electrician and that you can earn $80,000 a year working for someone else. So if you went out on the market today and tried to get a job, you could make 80 grand yourself, not having to start a business or anything. All right? After more than 10 years of working at other companies, you started your own business. So you decided, hey, I'm going to go out and do this myself. Providing electrical contracting services for large commercial businesses in your area. As of today, you're doing quite well, but you're concerned with some proposed government legislation and regulation and how it's going to affect your profits. So at the beginning of next year, it's highly likely the government will pass a new law to raise minimum wages, and which would cost you 25% increase in your labor cost. Okay, so they're going to raise the labor cost that you have by raising the minimum wage, and now your labor costs are going to go up by 25%. And they're going to pass a new set of regulations that will cause your legal and administrative costs to go up by 30%. So you're going to have to hire some new staff to keep up with these regulations the government has. So they're basically just giving you rules. You have to meet those rules, and to do that, you're going to have to hire new people. Right? So all of that is going to cost you money. So I have here a table with what we call a profit and loss statement. It's just a basic document here that tries to take what you make in sales, take out all your costs, and then determine whether you have a profit or a loss at the end. Now today, the second column here is today. Today you have $1 million. You have $1 million in revenue. That means all your sales, all the things you sold, you're going to bring in $1 million. And in each year after each change here, each column, you still have $1 million in sales. What's going to happen though is when you take today's costs without the government labor increase or without the regulation increase, you net out $150,000 profit. All of your costs, you take $1 million, you subtract all your costs, you got 150 grand in profit. But if the government passes the law to increase labor costs, if you go down here to labor, remember we said labor is going to go up by 25%. So 25% on top of 500,000 is 625. Your other costs are the same and your revenue is the same, because revenue is not going to change just because your labor rate goes up. The result here is that you lose $125,000 of that profit, and you're down to only $25,000 in profit. Now, if the government increases the regulation cost as well, so you have both of these, you have your $625,000 labor cost, that's your new number, but then you have the $250,000 materials, which is good, and then you have a 30% increase in your legal fees and administrative costs. Remember that? Legal and administrative go up by 30%. This results in a $5,000 loss. So at the end of the year, you have to take $5,000 of your own money just to cover the expenses of running your business. You don't make anything. In fact, you lose $5,000. All right, so given these numbers in this table, answer the following questions. By the way, I have this ChatGPT AI warning here. You are not to use any kind of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, or anything else in any of the assignments in this course. If you do, I'll nail you. So don't do it. All right, so given that table, answer these questions. Number 1, if neither of the changes occur and your business continues to make the same profit, should you quit and take a job making $80,000? Why or why not? This is an opportunity cost question. Only evaluate this from a financial standpoint. In other words, don't talk about, well, I really like to own my own business. I want to be my own boss. I can make my own hours. None of that matters. We're only talking finances here, only talking money. All right? So if nothing changes and you can go out the door, sell your business today, go out the door and make 80 grand, should you do that? Well, if you do, you're giving up $150,000. That's your opportunity cost. So you tell me, what should you do here, and explain why. Number 2, if the labor increase passes, should you keep your business open or shut it down and take the job for 80 grand? Why is this the best economic decision? Only use economic factors in your evaluation. Explain your thinking. All right, so now I can leave my business and make 80 grand, but if the government raises my labor costs, I'm only making 25 here. So, numbers only, not what you could do in the future to increase your profitability, not that you like the fact that you're the CEO, none of that. Only on the finances. What should you do? Explain why. Number 3, if both changes take effect, should you keep the business or take the $80,000 job? Explain your answer. Now, this is both of them over here, and look, you're losing 5 grand. What's the most economically accurate decision to make here? All right, now number 4. Let's change gears. Forget about the possible job making 80 grand. Let's think about your decision to keep your business open or shut it down based only on its profitability. Okay? Not about what you can make if you leave, but forget all that. That doesn't exist. Just about, should I keep this business open or should I close it based on my profits? All right, so 4A here. If you lose $5,000 per year, as in column 3, does it make sense to stay open? Economic sense. All right? Give me an answer to that. Why or why not? If I'm making profits, do I keep a business open? Why do I close a business down? I close a business down when I'm not making profit, right? Give you a little hint there. Now, part B is give some reasons you might stay open, even if you did lose $5,000 for a period of time. So here I want you to go and think about other reasons. The other reasons that you personally keep a business open, even if you're only making 5 grand. You know, what about the future? What could you do? You know, all these different reasons you might want to keep a business open, even if you're only making 5 grand. All right, number 5. Read section 4-7B on page 70 of your textbook about price ceilings. So if you have the online version, you find section 4-7B and you'll find a price ceiling heading there. Okay, if you have a physical textbook, then you find the actual page and read it. Imagine that to help overcome the losses the government laws and regulations have created, you decided to raise your prices in the market. So let's go back up here. And the government's going to cut you down to 25 grand if it raises labor costs. And over here, it's going to, if it does both of its changes, you're going to lose money. So in order to offset this, you raise your prices. You try and get this number up by raising your prices. Okay? But then the government came along and set a price ceiling for the services you offered, which prevented you from being able to make up the losses. So the government's coming along and saying, sorry, I know you want to charge $100 an hour for electricians, but we're not going to let you do that. We're going to put a price ceiling on the price of an electrician that you can charge of $80. All right? What effect would this price ceiling have on your ability to keep your business open? Explain in detail. Tell me why. What would happen if you wanted to raise your prices but the government wouldn't let you? And number 6, reflect on the impact of the government's actions on this business. Think about what this is doing to a business on all counts here. The government is a very important part of our economy. Among other things, it creates and enforces laws that make doing business possible, like contracts, provides goods individuals by themselves would not provide, like roads and bridges, and prevents any one business from taking over an entire market, called a monopoly. But when government goes too far, creates too many rules, and tries to control too much of the market, it can cause great harm to businesses and people. That's what I'm trying to get you to see here. Government is good, But when government starts getting involved in free market decisions, like how much you pay your labor, the regulations that you have to follow, the prices you can charge, and all of those things are going on in our economy right now, it really causes a mess. So 6A, explain the effect of each of these government actions on this firm: labor rate increase, regulation increase, and price ceiling. So I want you to talk about what is the labor rate increase do to the business? What does the regulation increase do? What does the price ceiling? Now cover all three of those. Don't just do one or two. Were they good or bad for the business? Explain, were they good or bad and why? Number 6B, what lesson do you draw about how much the government should be involved in day-to-day business and economic decisions? Explain in detail. All right, so given what's happened, what the government in this case is doing to this business and the effects of it, what does this tell you about government's role in these kinds of things? Explain what you think there, what you've concluded. Now the requirements are the same pretty much for each of these 3 pages. Thoroughly answer it, every part. Proper grammar and punctuation. Write out the question, put the answer on the bottom, on the second line, next line under, and then follow the other requirements for how this is supposed to be set up. So hopefully that helps you. Please email if you have any questions. Have a great day.